And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
That's right. I'm finally back. They brought me back. Josh said, I got to have him. So I said, okay, I'll do it. I'm back. I can't wait. We're live again. God damn it. I missed you.
No, I think podcast David George got tired of fucking talking to me. They're like, God, this guy's annoying the shit out of me.
I got a lot to do here.
Let John deal with his ass. Fucking bring John back. Oh, man. You had your 40th anniversary on a cruise ship. And
I did.
I don't know about staying in them little tiny rooms, man. Is the boat rocking? What you thinking?
Yeah, well, if the boat's not rocking, there's a problem. No, those things are, I mean, you talk, it's funny, Josh, because, you know, I know you've gone and done a bunch of stuff. I've done stuff with you with the military and stuff. You know, and the biggest boat I'd ever been on was a fucking aircraft carrier, the USS Truman. I went on a thing where Rich Franklin and Mike Pyle and a couple of us went and did some stuff, and we stayed on the boat for like 4 days and did training with the guys and stuff. It was great. Mm-hmm. And it was just the size of that. But freaking the cruise ships now are just, they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's, 18 stories tall shit. And it's like, it's just as long as a damn freaking aircraft carrier. It's unbelievable. And the way I got to say, man, the way those people navigate those things and move them around stuff, whew, boy, they're good, because I'd crash that sumbitch.
Well, John, you know what's funny is when you see him, you're like, there's just no way that thing can fucking sink.
Oh, I know.
There's just no way.
No, there's a way it can sink, man. I'm surprised it can float.
Yeah.
There's so much damn weight on that thing.
There's a lot but then you take a picture of the ones now currently compared to like the Titanic that was unsinkable.
Oh,
it's like they're like doing a little sailboat.
It looks like a tugboat.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's so crazy.
Funny. Can you imagine getting on the Titanic and be like, oh yeah, this thing is unsinkable. Look how big it is and massive it is. Yeah. And you just you were able to fast forward and take a look at what they're in now. Like, yeah, I'll wait till that shit's built. I'm gonna go on that one. That one seems a little safer.
I'm telling you, I don't know, for kids and stuff, they got so much stuff for kids now. And now, not on the one that I was on, but like we went into Cozumel and there was like 5 different ships at the same time. I'm like, okay, I'm not getting off. I'm not doing that shit. But we go and these boats there was one, it had tubular slides going. I mean, it was a rocket ship down. They got some cool stuff. You can see all the kids up on the lines. They're doing these zip lines and all kinds of stuff. There's some cool stuff.
Yeah, I think that's something I'll probably look to take my kids on later on. Yeah, I think right now my daughter only being 6, you don't know how much they're going to remember and enjoy.
Oh no, she would love it.
Yeah,
she would, and that's because, in fact, my daughter just took my grandson, who's only 2, and they went on one and stuff, and like a week before I went, and I said, what can he really do? Yeah, there's not a whole lot. He had to be a year older. I said, just a year. Yeah, it was whole different pool things where they could go and what they could do and stuff, and it was like, but yeah, your daughter she'd eat it up.
She's fucking.
She's a monster.
She's a monster. She's wild, man. It's fun though. It's fun to always see their experiences, but you want them to remember them too. That's the thing. Like you're kind of on that border of like, I know when I started remembering things, it's like around 4 or 5 years old.
Okay,
like, she's 6. I get it.
It's right there, yeah.
But, some of that's still a haze, like in that 5, 6. And you're like, look, how much this kind of money? But if you spend that kind of money, you want your kid to fucking remember it. Okay. I want you to don't want you to brag to your friends about it.
Tell her, you will remember this.
Yeah. Never works out that way, but
no, it doesn't.
Well, while you were away,
there was a lot going on.
Yeah, we had some guests on. It was cool. We had Chris Curtis and Rashad Evans did great. And then we're working on a schedule right now to get Quentin Jackson on so he can talk about his boxing match
against Rashad.
Rashad did, and that's coming up in April. We had a great show. It was fun.
Do you remember that Ultimate Fighter when they were the 2 captains? Because it was the heavyweights. In fact, it was Kimbo Slice and it was Big Country. Roy Nelson was, he's the guy that ended up winning it and stuff. Matt Mitrione, Brendan Schaub, all those guys. Those guys, that was the most entertaining season. Shit going on and stuff as far as the coaches. Remember Quinn? He got in a fight with a paper door and he got stuck in it almost. It was great. Rashad could push his buttons.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
But it's just, then they fought, and then just the wrestling aspect of it all is like, oh, you wrestled too much, this and that. Now he wants it back, and the boxing.
No, he won.
No, I'm saying but like you just wrestled too much. And he's like, hey, I wanna do it again, just boxing only. And so they talked it out, hashed it out. They were able to get a promoter to do it, and so I'm looking forward to seeing them, have fun. Like you can tell that. What's funny is, John, I know this is where a lot of fighters will end up later on, because I talk to a lot of these younger guys. And then when I say younger, guys that are at the top right now, but they're like in their 35, 36, 37. They're getting towards the end.
Right at the end. Yeah.
But they still have that I'm a fighter kind of.
Sure.
And then I see where like I was at that time, and I see where other fighters were at that time too. And they're exactly where I was exactly where they were at, like a little, that chip on the shoulder, the confidence, but then you hit the age that I'm at now, and you just don't have it anymore.
No.
Yeah. I want to know, I want to see them. I want to see the ones that are there now at 30, at 36, 37, 38. I want to see them when they're 45, 47, 50. Like where they're at, because they won't be the same people.
No, you can't be.
Completely different, like personality and energy that they bring. It's going to be completely different.
Absolutely. Josh, you can only maintain. It's almost like, there's that competitive aspect of your life. Mm-hmm. And when you're in that competitive aspect, that's all you can think about, because you thrive on it. You live off of it. It is what you hunger for. Mm-hmm. And then there comes that point where, and everyone loses it at a different point, but there'll come a point where it's like, yeah, I don't really need to compete anymore.
Yeah.
And it's for some guys, it's harder to give up, and it takes longer. And some guys, it happens a little bit, but it's always somewhere in that 35 till we'll say 45, that it inevitably just happens almost with everyone,
Yeah. I think it's just the feeling you get of just wanting to enjoy not having to compete.
Yeah, not having the pressure. And it's a lot of it is, I honestly believe it's, no matter that you thrive on the pressure to compete, you thrive on, okay, this is my next match. This is what I have to do. And it drives you forward. There comes a point where it becomes just a heavy burden that you go, I just don't want to do it. And that's why guys start tailing off going to the gym. Yeah. And everything like that. And it's part of human nature. Everyone's going to live their life the way it's, meant to be, but you want to be full. And then you'll see the things that you've done and you go, and that's been great, but I really want to do that. I really want to do that. And you'll have those bucket list things. And there's only one way for you to get to those things. And that's to give up the past that you've been doing for this whole time. And you just got to get to that point where you go, okay, now's the time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just, like, I've had conversations with guys that I know that are super nice guys, but they still have that like little chip on there, and they're, 37, 38 years old, coming to the end of their rope, and they're still competing at a high level, but it's coming to an end. They still have that on there. And I like seeing that moment when they walk around with a smile, and it's a different way they approach people. It's without that. It's just a different way. Anyways, it's fun to see. I think it feels very wholesome, I think, to see like this guy could kill you at any moment, but like to see them go through that change of, and I don't want to say it's maturity or growth. It's a different type of growth.
No, it's a growth, but it's just it's just a different part of the journey of life. Yeah. And you have to understand, it's those things that are important. It's like when we were on the Jackson podcast, and I was talking about Quentin with his cars, because Quentin has always been a guy that loved fancy cars, and great. I understand, because I love, cool cars. And then it got to, I just like hot rods and stuff. I didn't need to have the Lamborghini or something like that. It was like, I think they look cool, but I don't want one. I couldn't afford one. But it was like, there comes a point where you go, yeah, I'm good with the truck or whatever it is that, when I bought my, the truck I drive now, I said, this is my last buy. This is it. This is the last one I'm going to buy, until the day I'm holding on to this one, and you'll get to that where you just realize it doesn't matter how cool the car is. It's cool to have it, but it just gets you from point A to point B.
Yeah. It's funny. I just had this conversation with my wife the other day. I said, I got the Jeep Wagoneer. It's got like TVs in the back.
It's really nice.
It's really nice. It's really nice. But like the kids, like I've realized that, they're at an age now where like they actually talk more in the back now when the TVs aren't on. Like they, and I'm like, okay, it's time to just get rid of this. Like we use it for road trips and it was great to have.
It's great for that.
Yeah, it's great for that. But I said, I ended up ordering a TRD Pro, the Toyotas. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get this. And I go, look, I know they'll last forever. So I'm just this will be my last vehicle until my son turns 16. So I got 7 years with this car, 6 years with this car. And then he can, I don't know, we'll see how it runs, but he'll probably take it over for his first car, which is not a bad car.
No.
Yeah, 6-7 years. So, and driving around here, that thing will probably maybe get 80,000 miles on it at the most, probably in that amount of time.
I don't know, with your son's schedule and what your daughter's going to end up doing, it might be 180,000.
It might be, but at least we know with the Toyotas, bro, those things will drive for 300, 400,000 miles.
Freaking run, man.
Yeah, Bob Cook had a Camry and a Lexus LS, and man, he drove almost 500,000 miles on his Lexus LS. And the only reason why he got rid of it is because the cushion in the seats was gone. Because he drove it for so many miles. He's like, I have to get rid of it. I'm still driving. Like I have to wear pillows. So I put pillows down there. So he's like, just so I have some sort of cushion because the cushion's all out of the seats. I'm like, damn. But hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and jump into the. Dave's like, come on, guys. Let's talk about the fights. Let's talk about the fights. But hey,
I can sit here and talk about all the stuff that I missed because, man, I'm telling you, I missed some stuff. There was some shit going on in the world of MMA. Oh, come on. Are you kidding me? First off, there was a fantastic fight with Usman versus Paul Hughes.
Yes.
Incredible. Fantastic battle for both of them. That was great. The knockout.
You've been gone that long, huh?
Dude, yeah.
Yeah.
Then I had, the whole Bryce Mitchell thing, which was not good. I was like, he said what?
Yeah, we can talk. Let's recap a little bit of the Paul Hughes fight.
Okay.
And some of that at the end. We'll do that at the end.
Okay.
And then we'll go ahead and recap the Bryce Mitchell.
We'll recap all that.
Bryce Mitchell thing. Yeah, there's stuff to talk about. But before we get started, though, here's a word from our sponsor.
My farm needs the earth, the air, and the water. I get my energy going on LMNT Electrolyte Drink Mix. Clean, good-tasting energy that feeds me like I feed my plants and animals. And after a long day on the tractor, when it's time to shoot the podcast, I drink LMNT so that I can stay energized and stay salty. Let's get it on.
And so we are back from that. I hope you enjoyed watching it because that's my farm. That's what I do all the time.
But John, before we do move on the show, you got to move back to where you were because like you just.
Am I moving around? There you go.
You drifted.
I'm a drifter.
Within about the first 2 minutes of the show.
I'm a drifter, dude.
Don't tell Mr. McCarthy that. You can't say that around her. I'm a drifter.
I'm a drifter. All right, we do have a UFC pay-per-view coming up. It has got a rematch of DDP up against the guy he took the title from in Sean Strickland. Are you into that fight? Do you think that's the fight they should have made?
I think it is.
Okay. A lot of people thought it should have gone to Chimaev.
Okay.
And that's why I'm asking.
Okay. If here's my only thing, and everyone's gonna, and I know, like I get called a Chimaev hater all the time.
That's why I put you in this predicament.
I know this is why you're trying to stir the pot. You're welcoming yourself back with stirring the pot. I get it. And look, and I'm ready for it. I'm coming off of a cold, and I'm ready to just fire back. Okay, I'm burning fire over here. Anyways, it just comes down to the fact that he can't get a U.S. visa, and so
it's rough.
And that's but look. Let's be honest. Trump's elected now. There's going to be some strings pulled.
Yeah, no doubt.
Chimaev will be allowed to fight in the States here shortly. I don't think it'll be a problem. And you're going to end up seeing Chimaev probably fight the winner of this fight, or you're going to see Imavov fight the winner of this fight, and they'll schedule the Chimaev sometime right after that. The problem is that Imavov and Imavov, sorry, I've just realized that that's how they say it. Imavov and Chimaev are training partners.
Ex-training partners, at least, yeah.
Yeah. And so we're going to find out where that leads. But look, Imavov has said it already. I'm going to fight him just for the title, though.
Yeah, I think that's the right scenario. That's when you do it.
Absolutely. So many things can happen between now and then. Yeah. Imavov could fight the winner of this and win the title, and then turn around and get hurt, be out for a while, whatever it is, or basically lose to somebody else if somebody else has to jump in because Chimaev can't fight, whatever it is. There's so many scenarios that could happen. I think this was the right call. Sean's ready to go. And DDP, there's a little bit of history there. Look, the first fight was kind of close. It wasn't a great fight. That could have been better. We're going to see if Sean Strickland learned anything from that first fight. He could have done more. He should have done more. And I think he hit himself in the ass by not doing more. Sorry, guys. And so the fact is that we're going to see how much he learned from that first fight. He learned his lesson. He's going to come out and stick and move and just walk him down and put pressure. Because when he was putting pressure, he was having success. No different than when he fought Izzy. So if he does the same thing in this fight that he did against Izzy, I think he gets the win. If he doesn't, if he starts to take steps backwards, he loses this fight.
That's why he lost the first one. It was the ability of DDP at times to make it to where Sean could not be comfortable and had to back up and continuously back up. And once he was on his back foot, he's a different fighter. He can't control the range the same. He can't do the same things. And he doesn't have the variety of attack. And I'm not saying he doesn't have the skill set to do it. He doesn't want to be a guy that's looking for takedowns and stuff. He wants to be a stand-up fighter where at least Duplessis he'll change it up, man. He'll shoot the takedowns. He'll work ground and pound. He'll be in the stand up with you. He'll fight everywhere, which makes him a much more difficult person to deal with. I always say, look, whatever someone is going to be basically boxing centric, yeah, they could be good at boxing, but they've made it easier on you as far as you know exactly what they're going to do. And there's not going to be surprises, and it's not going to be that you have to worry about him shooting for takedowns and having to have yourself, ready, your hands in certain places. You don't have to worry about it, where Sean does have to worry about it with DDP. So I look at it the same way as you. I think this is a fight that Sean could win if he's able to put DDP on his back foot, back him up, and continuously back him up. And at least if he's not backing him up, do not give ground. He's got to be able to stand his ground, in the middle of that octagon or wherever he wants to, but you cannot back up. You can't be on your back foot. You cannot be circling out. You have to be in a position where you are making him feel uncomfortable in the fight. And that's the way for Sean to win the fight. If Sean can't do that, and that's where he made the mistake, or he was unable to, make it to where he could control the center of that cage and put the pressure on DDP. If it's the same story, you're going to get the same outcome. Sean did a lot of damage to DDP in the first fight. If you go back and look, his face was lit up. Mm-hmm. He put a lot of shots on him, which shows you, hey, man, Duplessis can take shots. He's tough. And the big difference in this one, if you're looking at it, for the most part, Sean is not a real knockout fighter. He's a volume fighter. He doesn't have that one punch power to knock people out. He can hurt you, but he's not going to put you unconscious with the one shot. He's a volume guy that's got to hit you multiple times to put you in that position where, the one thing you've seen out of Duplessis, he's a finisher. Out of all of his fights, he's got 24 fights, I want to say. He's got finishes in all of them except, I believe, 2 decisions, and one being against Strickland.
Mm-hmm. Those of you guys that are trying to comment or trying to get in these, we actually blocked off the comments just for our members only. So if you guys want to join as our memberships, we offer a $1.99 membership and a $5.99 and a $4.99 membership. What you got there, Dave? You shook your head no.
Subscribers.
Yeah,
let's go.
Subscribers only.
Subscribers. Okay, subscribers only. Sorry, my bad. So just for subscribers only. So if you guys subscribe to our channel, we'd greatly appreciate it. Instead of just coming here and taking all the goods and running off to other people, man, I feel like you're cheating on us, man, every time you guys do that. So just remember, man, #and still. We are still the best combat sports podcast in the business, man. Big John McCarthy, the guy who wrote the rules, and of course myself, a former world champion, who just likes to talk shit to all the fans in the comments. Yeah, but that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. Oh,
John, the amazing part is you read the comments.
Yes, the most amazing part is I can read. is look, we I agree with everything you're saying. He cannot afford to step backwards, and he had success in the first fight in spurts. It was almost like he got hit with a couple things, and all of a sudden it was like, wow, he hits harder than I thought, and it's coming from weird angles, and the herky jerkiness of him.
Yep.
And everyone that has fought him said he's got a different kind of strength. Almost like clubbing forward, with punches, and then just when he grabs you, it's like just that weight you really can't get off of you. It's very unorthodox in how his approach is. You ever seen like when guys are just fall, like one time when you took me down to the cage, you just kind of fell forward.
Is that what it was?
Underneath, and that's exactly what happened here. And so that's what's happening with him, I believe, is that he's a bigger, lumbering guy. He seems out of balance all the time. But he's making progress and moving forward. He's always trying to push the fight forward, and he's dangerous.
Yeah.
So, and no matter how tired he looks, he could look freaking exhausted.
Yep.
But he keeps pushing.
Yep.
He keeps pushing forward, and when you think he's exhausted and he can't get through, I mean, you go back to his Darren Till fight, I think is what it was, right? He looked horrible in that first round, I believe, right?
He put it on Till in that first round. He freaking put on some damage and then freaking was exhausted. You're right.
That's right.
And then, it worked his way through it. And then, looked like Till was coming back. And then, boom, he comes back again. Look, he's got a gas tank. He's in shape.
Yeah. He's a dog when it comes to that stuff. So, Sean is someone that wants to set the pace, and he wants you to fight at his pace. If you can't fight at his pace, that's where he tries to ramp it up and dictate the pace of the fight even more.
Yep.
Where he doesn't do well is just fighting going backwards. And so, but John, another sponsor of ours, BetUS. Make sure you guys use YouTube 150 as the promo code. YouTube 150 is the promo code to give you 150% bonus on your first and initial deposit. And they also give you 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits. So use YouTube 150 at BetUS. And right now, look, they got Sean Strickland at plus 165 and Drickus at minus 200.
It's not bad.
The over-under on it, the over is 4.5 at minus 185. I honestly believe they're going to go over.
I agree. I think they're going to go. I think it's going to be tough for Drickus to finish Sean. He's very durable. I mean, yeah. Pereira was able to do it. That's not the common thing, and he's just a tough guy that can go on and on in the fights, and he does have a gas tank. I agree with you. I think the only way for Strickland to truthfully win is to take it to a decision and win it, in a 5-round decision. And I think, as looking at it, could DDP get a submission in there? Possible, but I doubt it, honestly, because Sean is not bad on the ground, and he will give up position to get himself back to his feet, which can get him in trouble. But I don't look at Drickus as the guy that's going to catch him in that transition. And so I think either way, it's going to go to the over.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Strickland's got he's very like wiggly on the ground, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
Somebody who's going to be hard to catch in transition, someone who's not going to really give up that type of position with his back to the fence. He'll find his way to his back to the fence and start trying to scrape you off and working his way up that way. I think that's the way that he's always done it inside the gym. Seen a lot of his training videos and from past, 24/7s or whatever they do when they do their walkthroughs and stuff and their fight camp stuff videos. You see him, if he is on the ground, he's always near the fence, kind of working his way up slowly and methodically, and he's pretty good at it.
Yeah.
And he's got good takedown defense no matter what. He's real scrappy, and the way that when you snatch that single, that's why he stands bladed. When you snatch that single, he's really good at just kind of turning his back and turning his knee down to clear his leg, and then comes right back with some sort of tip kick or some sort of jab right at your chest to keep you from reshooting.
And people have no idea how difficult it is to hold on when you have that leg and someone's able to do that turn and that knee shoots down towards the ground. There's no shoe on it like in wrestling to where you can actually have something to grab onto and the foot just comes out. So it's difficult to hold on to.
So you're going to say you're going to take Sean Strickland by decision?
I always look and say, I do think that DDP is the favorite in the fight, and I would pick him to, if it was even odds, I would take DDP. Yeah. In a gambling situation, I would look and say, I would take Sean Strickland to the over since he's a plus 160. That means that I can put $100 down to 160 there. And no matter what, I truthfully believe it's going to go to the over. So I would put it on that, get a nice little parlay.
Yeah. I mean, I would look at I think DDP is going to probably win as well.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at right now. And I believe he's a minus 200 on that is what I had.
Which is about 185 is when I start to say, I can't do it.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's like the risk reward is just not worth it. Honestly, at the minus 185 now, minus 200 is there.
Especially when you have someone like Strickland, he can win. I mean,
yeah, he can win.
It's, it's not like he's fighting someone. I go, this one's not going to, we've had fights, we talked about recently. I said, look, this is not a good fight for him. He's not going to win this. And it ends up that way. Now, not always. You're never going to be, 100% right on things. But this is one of those ones you look, you go, look, I truthfully believe if you were going to say, John, who's going to win this fight? I'm going to go with DDP.
Yeah.
I think that there's just more of a percentage there. But if you're going to ask me what the percentage is, I'm going to tell you it's 55-45. So Strickland can definitely win it.
Yeah, this is one of those fights that I may pass on a little bit, only based on the fact that, like you said, it's a minus 200. It was a split decision win in the first fight. It's a very close fight. Sean, I think, learned his lessons. He will probably come back and fight a better fight. I'm still leaning towards DDP, but look, when there's a 50-50 fight, I sometimes will stay away from it unless I decide to go like, hey, I'll take it on a decision. And if I was to do that, I'd say, look, Sean Strickland, if he does go by decision, he wins. It's a plus 240. So you can take by a technical decision or just a decision. I don't think either one's going to win. If I was going to take a submission win, I would probably lean towards DDP to win by like a side choke or something along those lines. So I could say I could take Drickus by submission. That's a plus 550. If I was to throw down just, $20. Yeah. Throw something out there, whatever it was. If you're feeling frisky, feeling lovely about it, and you want to make it, throw a bet down, that's something you could do. Those are the ways that I would look at that bet to bet on that fight.
What are your thoughts on Poatan being in Strickland's corner?
I had this conversation with Keto George the other day. I mean, the travel is a little concerning since Poatan's fighting in 5 weeks. So you're traveling to Australia, correct? And then you're going to be there. You've been there all week. But the other thing too is that Poatan goes there. He could probably go to New Zealand. He'd probably go to New Zealand, train over at City Kickboxing. He'd probably train some places in Australia. There's plenty of places to probably train in that area where they would love to have him. He can get some work in. I think that he's got connections pretty much anywhere, and they'd probably love to have him there. And I'm sure the UFC will help him set up some good training while he's there. So there'll be other fighters there at that event as well. So I think that he'll be able to get some rounds in, at the fighter rooms and set up. And I think he'll be fine. I do get concerned. That's a long travel. That is a very long travel. And then that generally ruins about 4 or 5 days of your travel when you're training when you get back. But if you're training there and then as soon as you land, you train again right away, you might be able to kind of get away with it. And it depends. When did you go in? Are you going in with Sean? Or are you going in like 2-3 days? Yeah. Are you going in literally like the day or two before the fight to get acclimated, and then you get there and fight, and then you turn around and fly right back? If that's the case, then I'm less concerned about it. But if you're there all week, that kind of hurts. That hurts a little bit. Like if you fly in just the day, like say he flies in the day of weigh-ins, then he gets some rounds in with people that are there, other fighters that are there, and then he corners the fight, and then he turns around and flies back. That's not really even enough time to really affect you all that much. You'll jump back onto your regular training schedule. You might have ruined a day or two. But what do I think about him overall being in the corner? I think it's great. I want people to remember this. This sport was built off of fighters that were all friends. We all used to train together. We all liked each other, but we all fought each other. It's like we saw each other in circuits, man. That's the way it was built. That's what Jets. I think that's what generated some of the most intense fights. Is we knew how good each other were, and we knew how we had to make ourselves better to beat that fighter, and we knew what they were good at. They knew what we were good at. They knew how hard we could push. They knew how hard they had to push to beat us. That's what made great fights. We don't get that as much anymore. That's why you get maybe 4 or 5 good fights, let's say 6 to 7 good fights a year that we talk about being fight of the year candidates. I felt like there was so many fight of the year candidates back in the day. Sure, they're a lot sloppier when you go back and look at them because, but
technique was different also.
Yeah, technique was different. The sports evolved. I mean, we're laying the groundwork for it all. But I think it's great. I love seeing Poatan in his corner. And I brought this up. What do you think? Like, Sean, for someone who says some wild and crazy shit, he seems like he still has a group of friends that are pretty close to him. Chris Curtis was talking about, look, I fucking hate the guy, man, but I love the guy.
I love the guy. There you go.
You know what I mean? And that's him. And then the same thing, Poetan, train with him, likes him. Other guys that I've seen their work, you know, they know him. They love working with him. They love training with him. Says outlandish shit.
Yep.
But they still love working with him. So it is what I don't know.
Here's the part with Sean, and this is where many people look at Sean and they think, oh, and they listen to him and they go, he's stupid. He's stupid. He's not. He's a very intelligent guy. Now, he's got his battles that he has inside from things in the past, but he's a very intelligent person and he's a loyal person. If you come to help him get better, he wants to help you get better. That's the start of a friendship in MMA. You know that.
Yeah.
How many times have you done it with guys? You know, hey, can you come and help me? Sure, I'll come and help you. And as soon as you do, you guys are friends for life. You know, and it's even when that person does something, it's like, yeah, he's my boy. And that's the way it's supposed to be. And, you know, the whole thing that happened with Chris and Sean, you know, I got a little insight on that. I never said anything based upon it, but it's a matter of, you know, it's two goddamn alpha males and one that cannot stop. Okay. And that's when you get that, you'll get the other one will finally say, I've fucking had enough. I'm done. Okay. And then, you know, but it doesn't mean that you still won't go to bat for that person. And Sean Strickland's just that guy.
No, see, like Khabib reached out to me just the other day about something. And I told him, I said, hey, because he asked me about something. And I said, hey, no, I'm glad that you reached out to me and asked me because I didn't want you to make an assumption on something. And I said, I appreciate you showing me the respect to reach out. And then he sends me back a message. Hey, I have to ask you, brother, because I love you. He's like, you helped me throughout my career. He's like, you're a big part of my success. That lets you know, like, we put each other in positions to help each other get better. There was times where he would call me and say, hey, are you coming to training? Habib would. And I'd be like, I said, I wasn't planning today. I said, I just fought, I fought 4 days ago. He's like, I don't have, he's like, I really don't have anyone. Can you come in? He's like, I got one guy. And like, and I'm like, yeah, I'll be there. So it's like, you don't want to go, but you do it because you care for them. Like, what their goal is, no different than your goal. So he had helped me those 2 weeks before for my fight.
You owe him. He's like, he owes you and you owe him. And
everyone disappeared after my fight, and because DC had fought, I had fought, everyone had kind of disappeared out of the gym, obviously, for a week. You know, the hype is over, and he was getting ready for his fight. Yeah. And he's like, I'm like, yeah. He's like, can you come in? Absolutely. And there's many a times, not just that. And he's been there for me. I've been there for him. Same thing for Islam. Same thing with Umar. Same thing with, all the guys, every guy. Rockhold, same thing. There'd be times where he'd be like, hey man, there's no one in the gym. Can you come in, just give me some grappling rounds, and this and that. Absolutely. Whatever you can get. So we do expect a lot from each other, and we want it reciprocated. And I think Sean is that guy.
Yeah.
Next fight.
We got a championship fight with Weili Zhang, the strawweight champion, taking on the comeback kid. And when I say comeback kid, I'm saying that based upon having a scare with her health. But Tatiana Suarez has just been absolutely perfect throughout her career, and she's looking to continue to be the undefeated champion of the UFC. The question is, can she get past Weili Zhang? Mm-hmm. What do you think?
John, I think she does get past her, and I think she puts her away. I think she finishes her.
Wow. I tell you what, and it's one of those things that this is one of those ones that took one fight for me to say this is a bad matchup for Weili. Now, obviously, Weili can win this. She's a great fighter. She's a great champion, but she needs to keep this thing on the feet. She cannot be on the ground. And I honestly believe Tatiana is too smart, too good with her grappling, too good with her takedowns, because she really does have some unique ways of taking the fight to the ground. She doesn't just go after one single thing. She chains her techniques together. It's the whole thing when she goes from a single to a double, back to the single, back to all of a sudden a high crotch, and she's getting the person down. And you look and you go, that was just beautifully done. And it's all based upon, the talent that she has and the technique that she uses. But once she's on top, you don't see a lot of women being able to get past her. And I think if she can take this fight towards the cage, get the takedowns and put the pressure on Weili. Weili is very physically strong. She's a good athlete, but she's going to have a very difficult time and have to use a lot of energy to get away from Tatiana. And Tatiana's only gotten better since her main training partner is her fiance in Patchy Mix, who, she's learning things and she's better with every fight. She's only got 10 fights under her belt. Weili's got a ton more experience, but I just have this feeling that Tatiana is she's in that mode where this is her moment. This is her time. And I see her becoming the new champion.
I would agree with you. Look, there's a couple reasons why. I think seeing Patchy Mix calling his fights, knowing how good he is on the neck, guillotines, arming guillotines, darces, front rear nakeds, anything to do with the neck, he will find. He gets to the back, rear nakeds, all that stuff. She is developing that system as well, and she already has it. And she's got the wrestling to get this fight to the ground. I think the height of Weili makes it even more intriguing to me because the head is low enough to where Tatiana, all she has to do now is just cover the head and jump to the arm and guillotine, pull her down. The relationship between Jake Shields and Patchy Mix for years, and obviously Tatiana Suarez being there as well. That's how Jake made his career.
His guillotine was nasty.
It was push the head into the hole, arm in guillotine, pull you down on top of them, hook sweep you, get to the top, guillotine you, finish you from there. And if he couldn't hook sweep you, he would just basically arm and guillotine you from the bottom until you gave him the hook sweep, and then he got on top and finished you that way. So they have a routine, and I think that Tatiana Suarez's wrestling is good enough to get this fight to the ground. She's physically a lot bigger than Weili. Now I don't know if she's going to be physically stronger.
No, I don't think so.
I think her grappling technique will make it feel physically stronger.
Yeah.
You know, when somebody is a good grappler, they have a squeeze that is different than a normal person. They have a squeeze that's different than a kickboxer or a boxer or just a striker or someone who grapples part-time has. Like, it's funny. I was just watching a video of Dana White talking about Islam's submission over Charles Oliveira, and he's like, I saw that from the top angle. It's like there's fucking muscles coming out of his back that I didn't even know fucking people had, right? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, it's true, but then you can see it. It's his squeeze is different, right?
Yeah.
I feel the same way. Patchy Mix, Nate Diaz. I've been in Nate Diaz's guillotine when I grappled him when he was younger. He was like 20-something years old when he was a baby. That kid's guillotine was fucking different than any other person I'd ever been guillotined by. I've been guillotined by Frank Shamrock, by Bob Cook, by fucking Mike Van Arsdale, by guys that could squeeze, right?
Yeah.
It was just different. It was different. Nate had a nasty little guillotine. Patchy Mix has that. I think Tatiana Suarez has worked that out as well. And I think that just the size of Weili is going to be like a little bit of a difference. Getting the head low, I don't have to worry about it. I can actually just put my chest over her head and go ahead and start to squeeze and try to pull you down on top and try to hook sweep. You know, Tatiana can wrestle. I think I don't know. I look at it, the scrambling and the wrestling and then the submissions are all going to go to Tatiana Suarez.
Yeah, well, it's the little things when you talk about that grappling and Weili's size. There's things that are going to benefit Weili as far as being smaller, but there's things that she's not. She's going to be at a disadvantage. In the Tatiana is not only a leg wrestler. She's good with the body lock and the body lock takedowns. Well, when you're Weili and you're way shorter, you know, it's when she starts to squeeze you into her hips, you can't drag that foot to all of a sudden keep that pressure on the ground. Anything. Also, as soon as those feet come just an inch off of the man, all of a sudden you're in trouble. And, you know, these are the little things and body styles and types that make differences when you're talking about you're taking on fighter A or fighter B. Well, fighter A is going to be a lot more difficult for you based upon Tatiana Suarez, her grappling, her length, and the ability to go and put this fight where she is dominant is just the whole thing.
Look, I sat with Tatiana after Patchy Mix won the title in Bellator against in the tournament against Stotts. And she literally came up and she almost felt the need to tell me, I told you so. I kept telling her, because when we talked to her and talked to Patchy in the fighter meetings, I'm like, you know, he's dangerous. He can stop takedowns. He can do this. And she's like,
Josh,
she just kind of kept quietly.
Josh, we picked him.
No, I know, no, I know that, but she wanted to drive it home because we as analysts we can't pick sides.
No,
You know,
but
we
we
have to
said
like we kind of have a feeling like we think this person might win, but we picked him to win because we thought if this fight was hit the ground and Stas not being that tall. Anyways, regardless, I look at Tatiana Suarez. I think she's she's definitely the favorite right now. She's a -120 and Weili's a -110, but this is what makes it interesting to me. At plus 300, I could take Tatiana Suarez at BetUS with promo code YouTube 150 at a plus 300 for submission. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take the plus 300 for submission, John, because I don't think it goes the distance. I think Tatiana Suarez gets the finish.
There's a good possibility, and you look at it. When you look at the odds on this, I know Tatiana is actually the favorite in this fight at a -125. Okay. And you look, and that's telling you something as far as odds makers give you an idea, the way they're looking at things based upon things in this, that you're going, man, 10 fights to basically 28 fights. But man, it's her ability to be dominant in that specific area. And especially after watching Weili against Jan, who gave her problems on the ground at times, you look and you go, man, this could be a tough fight for Weili. So I agree. Yeah,
the odds just changed when Dave pulled them up because mine was -120 and -110.
Oh,
now
really?
It's -125, -105.
Which is telling you what?
Yeah, more people are betting.
And they were both at -115 about an hour ago because I just refreshed from that right now.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's moving. Yeah, it's moving around.
So it's moving. Look, I like I said, I'm going to go ahead and take Tatiana Suarez at a plus 300 for the submission.
I like that.
I'm going to take that just to be, and look, if you guys are leaning towards Weili, I would probably take Weili by decision then. I think because Tatiana's going to be able to weather the storm. She's got to be careful if she can't get takedowns, if she gets tired in rounds 3, 4, and 5, which I don't think she will. But if she does start to slow down, because Weili will be there in rounds 4 and 5.
Yep.
She'll be there. That's where this fight starts to get scary. I think Tatiana's got to get this finished before round 4. She's got to get it within that 4 round, in that championship round. That round 4, round 5 could be dangerous. And her fighting her for 5 rounds is going to be tough too.
First time.
And for someone who moves as much as Weili does, there's a lot of in, a lot of out, a lot of bouncing around, all of that. That tends to slow, make people tired. Your opponent's tired. So I'm taking that. Go ahead, John. What else you got?
We also have on this, we have a guy that we just saw out of the Dana White Contender Series in Taliesin Teixeira against Justin Tafa. Obviously, they really liked what they saw out of Teixeira because Teixeira's from Brazil. He kind of reminds me of Problema. When you're looking at his length and everything, how big he is, how tall he is. He's got, super long length. He hits like a truck. But Justin Tafa hits like a truck too. He just does it with shorter arms.
Yeah.
And so this is actually going to be an interesting matchup as far as does Justin Tafa get through the length of Teixeira without taking one of the big shots? Because we've seen in Justin that, man, he can swat. And his real, when you're looking at his kryptonite, it's guys that can grapple and that can put him on the mat and take away what is his best tool, and that's his power. And you're not going to see that out of Teixeira. Teixeira is going to go after the knockout himself.
Yeah, John, I'm looking at those odds on that too, but I'm actually going to take Tafa. Tafa is a plus 105 and Teixeira is a minus 135. Yeah. It's his first fight in the UFC, if you want to say. The other thing too is, I was impressed by his performance in the Dana White Contender Series, but I wasn't that impressed. I wasn't impressed to say like, hey, he's going to come in and just destroy Tafa based off or beat Tafa, period. He got hit with some big shots in that fight.
Yeah, he did.
And he was getting walked down. He was getting pushed backwards. A guy who is 6'8", I believe. Yeah. I think he's 6'8". If you're 6'8", and you get pushed back by a guy who's not that tall. The guy he was fighting was big, but wasn't 6'8". He was like 6'3", 6'. Yeah. So that being said, I'm gonna lean towards Tafa. Tafa's experience, I think, will come through, and they're gonna get into some changes. He can't afford to take shots from Tafa like he was by that other guy.
True.
So he leaves himself open. He might be tall, long, and lanky, which I think is great for the sport. But you brought it up that he looks like Problema, Henna-Fajeda. But the problem is Henna-Fajeda is explosive.
Yeah, and a lot thicker.
Fast.
And a lot thicker.
But he's what, 6'8" as well, right? 6'8". But he's explosive. He's fast. He's got bounce in his step. I didn't see that from Taliesin. I didn't see that pop. I didn't see that movement like that. I didn't see that. So different levels in that area. I'm going to go with Tafa at a plus 105. And I don't think that fight, it says the over on it is plus 175. The under is minus 215 at 1.5. I would probably bet the under. Someone's getting knocked out and under a round and a half.
I would absolutely.
Yeah. So I would bet the under at minus 215. That's where I kind of feel safe. I don't like to bet, like you said, over the 185 mark or or 200 mark. But this is one of those ones you realize it's probably going to end up, someone's getting knocked out. Next one, buddy.
Jimmy Crute against Rodolfo Bellato. Jimmy Crute, being that he is from Australia, perfect thing for him to be going up against a guy in Bellato who we have seen very talented, tough, strong. It's got all the things that you're looking for, as far as a fighter. And Jimmy Crute's that guy that he was looking good for a while, and then he's run into some tough competition. But Bellato had that very impressive ground and pound victory over what was it, Ihor Portera? Yeah, Porteria. And he looked really good in that. It was impressive. I think Jimmy is a better fighter than Ihor. And so he's going to give him some more problems, but I look at this is a pretty good fight for Bellato.
John, I'm going to skip on down to some other fights. Francisco Prado versus Jake Matthews. That should be a very fun fight. You got Prado, who's got some power in his hands, not really tall in stature, but he can come forward and he just throws big heat. And then Jake Matthews, Jake Matthews is
Jake's good everywhere.
He's good everywhere.
Good everywhere.
Good fighter to watch. Fun. He's going to come in and throw down.
Yeah, I agree. But this is a matter of I always look at Jake Matthews and I go, dude, you've got a really good ground game. Use it. And he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
He's going to stand up, and that's exactly what Prado wants him to do. So hopefully Jake makes it a smart fight and fights where has advantages, and that would be on the ground.
Yep. And then my boy Cody Steele is making his debut. He's at a minus 220 against he's a Rongzhu. He's a plus 180. Rongzhu. So that's who he's fighting. And then there's one other guy in here that everyone's the anticipation is killing people. You got Toporio's brother. He's making his fight. So Alexander Topuria is fighting Colby Thickness.
Yeah. I don't know. This is one, he doesn't have the record of his brother. It's, he's 5-1, I believe, is his record for fights and everything. But, from what I've been told, he is very much like his brother. He's very, very well-rounded. He's not as smooth in the stand-up. He's got a very good ground game. And Colby is a guy that he's got a lot of talent. So it's not like they're giving him an easy fight. Colby's undefeated, I believe, right now at this point in his career. But he hasn't faced great competition when you're looking at it. And so really you got to look and say, he's got a lot of finishes. I love that about him, but this is definitely going to be the best person he's ever fought.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, that's going to wrap up our UFC talk. Our pay-per-view weekend is coming up. And so before we move on, I want to thank you guys so much for supporting us over at OnlyFans. John, I had an idea while you were gone, and I'm not sure if you heard it, but I was saying, you've got a ton of memorabilia that I know that you're trying to get rid of, like UFC canvases and things like that. But, I stole this idea. I think I stole it from Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje's basically doing like auctions of like some memorabilia stuff where basically he charges people like a couple, $10, $15 or $100 to join in to have a potential to win something. And they auction it off, and then you just mail it off to them and they pay all the shipping fees and you mail it all off to them, whatever it is. So, you've got like tons of, what are the lanyards? I've got tons of gloves and shorts and memorabilia. I've got like a bunch of signed shirts from AKA. I've got a bunch of just different things, man, that I've had over the years. I've got magazines that are all signed by fighters,
UFC fight mats. Who wants a UFC fight mat?
Yeah, there you go. So look, we've got ways to go ahead and bring some excitement over to our OnlyFans channel, and auctions. There'll be live auctions over there. So let me kick that around with John some more on how we can do it and get some stuff out of our houses. That would be nice.
My wife would really appreciate it.
But I want to thank all you guys that continue to support our podcast. You guys are members down below. Make sure you guys join the membership club. We have a $1.99 membership and a $4.99 membership. And for the $4.99 memberships, we go ahead and we do giveaways on a monthly basis. And working out a new deal right now with another company trying to do more giveaways for you guys. So if you guys are going to join our memberships down below, I'd truly appreciate it. That'd be wonderful. And Dave, before we move on to anything else, do you have any super chats?
Yeah, let's look at a couple of these real quick. Oh, my thing just froze, but hold on. Oh, there we go. Too many chats. Sorry, guys. All right. I think Spinning Head. Oh, yeah, he did have the first one. Okay, Spinning Heel Hook asks, Josh, I heard Travis Stevens say he trained grappling with you in the past. What was rolling with Travis like compared to ex-wrestlers or BJJ guys?
Travis Stevens.
I love it. I love it because this is what people do to me all the time. I go, who?
Yeah, you got me, buddy. I'm trying. Let me see. Travis Stevens.
Come on, man. Come on.
Oh gosh, yeah, judo. I was thinking jujitsu. I'm thinking jiu-jitsu. No, Travis. Yeah, Travis is hands down the strongest person I've ever grabbed. He's Olympic silver medalist in judo for the U.S. Phenomenal jiu-jitsu, judo. I mean, and jiu-jitsu as well. His grappling was so strong, man. I've never been hit with a clock choke so fast in my life. As I was in the air, he was throwing it on. And
really?
Yes. So
he got your gi wrapped that way off of the throw.
Bro, he threw me, hit me in the air. When we landed on my back, I was almost fucking passed out. That's how fucking good he was.
That's awesome.
You know, and then this kid was, I kid you not, I think he was 19, I think, and he was leaving for the Olympics in like a year and a half. I think he was 20 or 21 when he won the Olympic gold or silver medal. But he's phenomenal, man. Phenomenal. Hands down, probably, and one of the nicest kids, hard worker, came in, put his nose to the ground, and just came in and absolutely, I could not say anything bad about this guy. He was such a gentleman, shared all the knowledge he possibly could. I wish I would have put my ego aside a little bit more and asked more questions, from him because he was so good. He was hands down the best judo person I ever trained with, ever. And I trained with Mark Swain, guys who own Swain mats and some other really top. Dave Williams, was the San Jose State judo coach. They have a phenomenal judo program there. I've trained with a lot of really good judo guys out of San Jose. They came from San Jose State. Hands down, Travis Stevens is phenomenal. Great person and great technician. Absolutely. Olympic silver medalist, man. Like it should say it all. What else?
Spinning Heel Hook also asks, how important is lifting for MMA? Islam has amazing technique, but he can also deadlift near 500 as a lightweight. Dude is a tank.
Look, I know it sounds like a lot, but I mean, and I have the skinniest fucking legs in the world, but I was deadlifting 440. So it's not like, I don't think it's not like 500 is, I get it.
It's good.
It's good. It is. I'm not trying to knock it at all, but I very rarely lift it. I think it's important I wish I would have lifted more, to be honest.
Yeah.
I wish I would have lifted more. But there also comes a point where, are you lifting for max? And how much the injury versus reward for fights? I never saw that. I never thought like, hey, if you should lift heavy and get stronger, but the chances of getting hurt are a lot higher. So for me, everything I did was more functional movement. Sure, I lifted, but I never until like just goofing around probably about 2 years ago, did I ever lay down on a bench and just do a bench press. Never. And that's probably why I still have no chest. But but it's just one of those things. I did a lot of functional movements, dumbbells, kettlebells, ripsticks. I did like all different types of TRX training, all different types of stuff, mainly kettlebells, Bulgarian bags, those type of things, and dumbbells. That was a lot of my work, man. A lot of my work. That was it, mainly. But yes, you should lift. But I think for MMA, it needs to be functional movement because your body's always moving. So you got to learn how to, Turkish get-ups. Those are what to me were one of the most important things. Wall walking with the medicine ball, learning how to wall walk with your back against the wall with the medicine ball, 40-pound medicine ball, 30-pound medicine ball, whatever it was. Learning how to hip escape with the medicine ball, just pushing it off your hips, 30-pound, 40-pound medicine ball, just things like that. Keeping functional movement, things that you knew, the movements you knew that you were going to use with somebody on top of you and having to move that weight around. When you're exhausted, it was the worst, So yeah, I think that was the most important thing. And there's no better weight to move than actual weight that moves, right? Like you get a body on top of you. Like we used to do the bike sprint thing. We do a minute sprints on the bike. We'd hop off and someone would jump on us on the wall. We'd be sitting down and someone would jump on us and mount us from the wallscape. And we have to try to get up from there. When you're exhausted, you do that for a minute, you get back on the bike and you get back down on the wall. Now someone takes you down, you got to get back up. They take you down, you get back up. There's no rest in between. You're trying to move their body when you're tired. That was lifting weights.
A lot of people, the one thing that I'm going to add something to this, because I used to lift weights. I used to competitively compete in powerlifting at the 275-pound weight class most of the time. But lifting a weight, and when you're talking about the deadlift, I lifted over 800 pounds in a deadlift, okay, for competition. But that's a static lift. And when I say static, what I'm saying is you're having this one motion as far as this. Yeah, you're utilizing multiple muscle groups and everything, but it's a straight pull, and the weight, if the weight moves, you're not going to get the weight. You got to make it static, meaning it stays in one straight line for the most part, and that's a static lift. Same as the bench press is a static lift. You're pressing it straight up, basically. Same with the squat is a static lift. What makes MMA and wrestling, jiu-jitsu, all of it so difficult is it's the motion of things. When you see like these strongman competitions where you see them lifting barrels, or kegs with weight and shot in them, and they're moving, they can't do near as much as far as poundage based upon that movement. And the movement is what you've got to be prepared for. The straight push doesn't happen very often. That's not something you see in fighting. You see all of this dynamic motion and you having to compensate for that give and take of weight and pressure and everything. It's just a completely different lifting style. I'm not saying that the deadlift isn't good. It's a good thing for people to do, but you've got to do a lot of the other things like what you're talking about.
Yeah, what you'll see is if you guys ever watched some of like 24/7s, you'll see guys doing ground and pound on the bag, and you'll see them like have guys pulling their hips away.
Yeah, using bands to pull on them and things like that.
Because what that's doing is that's getting my body to work on pushing forward when somebody is trying to kick you back. And so you're having to learn how to shift your hip to relieve the pressure so you can keep driving your weight forward to land a hard shot. Like John's saying, is learning how to adjust your weight to carry someone else's weight, or as well as do as much damage as you can. So if I throw a punch, I want to make sure that I turn my body a certain way to relieve pressure so I can load up more on one side and land a harder punch. Fedor was one of the best, I think, at doing that.
Yeah.
He's so good at shifting his hip from one side to the next and then really coming around your guard with that little overhand right or left. And he used both hands. That was the other thing that I thought was so important in learning how to ground and pound. You see now guys only really know how to ground and pound with one hand. Learning how to ground and pound with two hands is so important, and to be able to create damage with both hands. And that's one thing he did so well.
Yeah.
So what else you got?
Easy Bed asks, watched UFC 55 earlier. Remember Craig Hummer? ? Cry laughing emoji.
Craig Hummer. I don't. UFC 55. Craig Hummer?
I feel like this is like one of those bad jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Craig Hummer. I think John.
I'm saying no, I don't.
I don't think there's a Craig Hummer because I don't remember. That's funny.
Could be. Hold on, let's see. Craig.
Nope.
Thank you. Knew it.
Yeah. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay.
AZ Ray videos.
And Dave's usually up to date with the millennial.
Yeah, I know. I have no idea. Let's see. AZ Ray videos. What is your move for Valentine's Day?
Oh, let me tell you all what my move is. what I do every Valentine's Day is I jump on my social media platform and I have a little meme that says, "Oh, you guys are all so in love. Why don't you guys switch phones for the day?" Oh, happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Y'all so in love, huh? Switch phones for the day.
Damn, man.
Yep.
You made that rough.
Yes, I did.
I never even thought about those things. And I've seen a couple of them on social media where someone will stand there on the street and they'll have the boyfriend and girlfriend and say, "Oh, you guys really in love? How about if we can switch phones real quick? We'll take a look at this, or let's see if you're on a dating app or something like that." Oh, shit.
Craig Hummer, by the way.
That's the quickest way to get out.
Craig Hummer, by the way, was apparently a commentator.
No,
Craig
he was not. Sorry, negative.
One and only gig with the UFC on commentary.
There you go, Craig Hummer.
Does it say he was a commentator somewhere?
That's what he just looked up.
Look him up on Google.
No, someone told me.
Yeah. I remember there was one time they brought somebody in because there's always a couple times when things happen. Goldberg couldn't show up for the UFC. I think it was 42 in Miami. You were there. You got in trouble.
I was.
And,
running the streets.
Joe Rogan actually did the play-by-play, and they had Phil Baroni, I think, as the color.
Yeah, because Goldie couldn't do it, or somebody couldn't do it, right?
Yeah, Goldie was
got sick, or
something happened.
Yeah, something happened.
Yes,
yeah,
it looks like I remember him.
This guy. So I searched his name UFC. This guy came up, and then it does have UFC 55 down here in the picture. So I'm assuming that must be accurate. Is this him here? I don't know if that's him there, but this is him here for sure, and this is him here.
I have no idea who he is.
Okay.
Does he? Well, he kind of reminds me of a Jimmy, but with hair.
When WWE tried to steal Goldie, apparently.
Jimmy Smith, right?
Yeah. What was that?
When WWE tried to steal Goldie, apparently. Was there a time of that was the case?
Yeah, there was a time when that was the case. Yeah, I guess it would have been somewhere close to that. Because that's tough because that was just after the first Ultimate Fighter show. And we were doing the second one, and that was Vince McMahon was trying to pull one over on the Dana and the Fertitas.
The answer is no, they do not remember Craig Hummer.
All right, next one.
All right, let's go. We got boxing fight announcement for September.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
This fight right here, I'm a little bit kind of scared, a little bit, just based upon the size difference of the two.
What are you scared about?
Look, I think that Terrence Crawford is the better fighter. I'm just telling you right now, as far as skill set and everything, Terrence Crawford is.
What do you got against Mexicans?
I got nothing against that. I think Canelo's fantastic. But, Canelo has hit that, it's like Mayweather got Canelo when he was young.
19.
And then he hit that peak, and then he's kind of tailed off from that peak, a little bit. But he's much bigger, much stronger than Crawford. Crawford is the guy who was a lightweight, 130 pounds, dude. Yeah. Now you can say okay, Canelo fought at 147 for a while, and then but he's gone up to 175. So I look and it's like I worry about the size, but this is going to be a great fight because if there's one thing, Terrence Crawford is difficult to hit, and he is so good at making you miss and making you pay. But Canelo's got great power, and the power can make the difference in this fight. And so I love the fight. I hate the fight, but I love the fight because it's two great fighters. And I hope it's not that it's Crawford is jumping up too much as far as weight. I haven't heard what weight they're going to compete at. If it was like 154, I would be happier. If it was 147, I'd be really happy.
It's not going to be 47.
I know it's not. That's why I said if it was 154, I hope it's not middleweight. If it's middleweight, it's too big for Crawford.
It'll be 160.
You think so?
Yeah.
Damn it. See?
I would like to see it be in 54. If it was 54, I'd actually go Crawford.
Yeah.
If it was 54, I'd go Crawford. But if it's 60, I think I'm going to go with Canelo.
Yeah.
and I would agree with you 100% that Crawford's the better boxer.
Yep.
He's slicker, he's smoother. He is a younger. He is another version of a Floyd Mayweather.
Oh yeah,
to fight, Canelo
with more power.
Yeah, Canelo has fallen into this thing where he'll just walk you down. He'll let you go ahead and he'll block and defend your shots.
Mm-hmm.
He'll try to land the big shot.
Yeah,
he's been having to do that with guys that are not as fast as a Bud Crawford. So
the speed is going to be a problem for Canelo.
It's going to be a problem because he's just going to get touched, and then by the time he goes to counter or do anything, Crawford could win this fight by just touching him and moving, touching and moving, and just taking rounds away. Taking rounds away.
Yep, stick and move on him. Stay away from the big power.
But I want to say this. This is the way boxing should be.
Yes.
And we're seeing it now. And it's only been what? 6 months? 5 months? Sheik has decided to get involved, and now we get fucking fights we can finally talk about.
But did you see that? And I did you see the Benavidez versus Morrell fight?
I saw highlights of it.
Okay.
It looked like a fantastic fight.
Well, I'll tell you what, because I really thought that David Benavidez was just too good for Morrell. Morrell's a young fighter. And this is the one thing that I want to say off of it. I look at it and I go, I think Morrell was like 11-0 or something like that. 12-0.
I think he was 12-0.
Yeah. And I love the fact that they put him in that fight. And I love the fact that I hope people are going to realize, because similar to what we do in MMA, look at Benavidez is the real deal. Benavidez can fucking fight. He is a monster. And they put him in there and he put on a great performance. Look, he clearly lost the fight, but he put on a great performance. And at the end, he was really fucking fighting. And you look and you go, man, you didn't lose a fucking step. No. As far as, not at all, especially going against the guy that you went against and the performance that you put on. Dude, yeah, it's a loss on your record, but you just went fucking steps up on my scale and my wanting to watch you from now on. So great performance by him.
John, that's a good segue into what I was talking about with Paul Hughes.
Yeah.
And with Paul Hughes and Usman Nurmagomedov, it was exactly what I was talking about after that fight. And no matter what anyone says, all I want to do now is tune in to watch Paul Hughes fight.
Absolutely. Paul Hughes has taken the mantle of the Irish fighter, and he has just grabbed a hold of that fucking thing, and he says, I'm the man. Yeah. And he's right.
It wasn't just the way he handled himself inside the cage. Now, I do believe that there was moments there where he could have done more, and I think at the end, he even said to himself, I could have done more. I look back and he's like, I'm going to go back and watch it. But there was moments where I could have done more. And if I had energy at the end, which I did, I should have done more. And you can't leave it to the last 30 seconds or the last minute, because then you're going to really take a chance of getting knocked out. But if you can push that pace throughout the whole fight, which he had the energy to do, man, he just won me over. He won me over so much. And then at the very end, the way he handled himself, a class act, respect, nothing but respect, and just loved everything the way he handled himself. And I even put the ball back into Usman's corner, and I said, this is one of those fights that I believe deserves an automatic rematch, because there's no, if you look at the division, right? I mean, there's guys that I posted some guys, for them to fight, but there's fight. You've got Shabli versus Rabadanov would be a great fight. Ghazi. The two of those guys, mainly for boxing. Great fight. Rabadanov being the champion of PFL. Shabli just fought for the title, came up short, but mainly a boxer, good kicks. That'd be a great fight. Mm-hmm. Okay. You have the blueprint there. You got Brent Permis versus AJ McKee, and then you run Hughes back with Usman. You've got 3 fights right there that you could make right off the bat. And there was another one that I made with Mads Burnell as well. So that's another one. I mean, there's fights in there to be made, and I think that Paul Hughes getting an automatic rematch would be fantastic. And do it in Belfast or do it in Ireland.
Okay, why?
But why not?
Okay, hold on. I heard all that stuff, and I'm going to put it out there. I know a lot of the Irish people thought Paul Hughes won. I thought he fought a great fight. He didn't win the fight.
He didn't win the fight.
Okay, you got to win. You got to win the rounds, and he fought his ass off. Great fight, was incredible to watch, but you're being a homer if you think he won the fight.
No, I had it 4-1.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying I saw a lot of people saying, Paul Hughes won that fight. No, he did not. But he fought a great fight. But saw the whole thing, and I agree with you.
Fight, what made people believe that he won that fight is because Usman looked tired.
Exactly. Always at the end. Always at the end. If you're the guy that's putting it on someone because the other guy's tired and you can see that, hey, he's got problems. They're always going to say you want to fight. No, it goes by rounds, and you got to win those rounds. Mm-hmm. But the real thing is I'm seeing this whole thing of there should be the rematch. I would love to see the rematch. I'm 100% with you, and I think the PFL is making a huge mistake if they don't put that as a rematch right away. Now, I don't blame them for putting it in Ireland, but you're going to have to put it in Belfast because that's the area that Paul Hughes is from. But that's not fair to Usman, okay? Because Dubai's not his hometown, okay? It's not his hometown. No, stop.
Hometown.
It's not. No, it's not. Come on. You can't say that. And to sit there, and so the challenger gets his rematch in his hometown. That's not quite right. I mean, I'm saying it's not done. I've seen it done many times, but I was kind of like, yeah, you want to take it to Dagestan and see how Paul Hughes likes that.
That's what's funny though, John, is I wonder how long until Dagestan builds a stadium for them.
Oh, there will be.
There's going to have to be something.
Yeah.
You would think that they would build something there for them, at least nearby, closer than Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia and everywhere, for like a place for them to have their fights there.
Yeah.
You would think. What else you got for us, Dave?
All right. Well, you segued back to MMA, but that wasn't the end of the boxing stuff.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's all right. So, Ariel Helwani was reporting today that he's heard Jake Paul and Alvarez are going to do a fight in May before the Crawford fight. And so the conversation was, if he was to lose this fight, like obviously it messes up the Crawford fight, but
do me a favor, check it when you can to see if you can see what weight class that Terrence Crawford versus Canelo fight, because
I did
that right there
and I couldn't see it.
Yeah, because that right there will say a lot as far as if this fight's actually truly going to come about, because Canelo is smaller than Jake Paul, and he's not going to want to be that much smaller.
So the reports are super middleweight on ESPN. That's ESPN reporting. Okay.
That's horrible. That is absolutely horrible for Crawford. I am pissed off, but I still think he can win.
168.
I know that's way too big for him.
That's horrible. Like,
dude, that's you got to figure. I think he fought Spence at 147. Okay. Geez. And that's freaking, you're looking at 20 pounds difference. Jeez.
He moved up to 154 from 147 in August. So he was 154 in August.
Yeah, that was his last fight. Yeah.
Yeah, that was his last fight. Yeah.
Yeah, it was his last fight. But well, going up to 168. Look, it's all weight. It's all good. But you got to figure if Canelo's going to fight Jake, Jake's going to, the lightest he can come in is 190.
Yeah.
What do you think, John? What is your feeling about these fights being announced like before the first ones even happen? Because Jake's fighting Logan as well in March, and then supposedly turning around and fighting this one in May, right? According to the reports right now.
Yeah, I honestly, what I believe is exactly what you're saying. Is things are being thrown out there and reported, and I think what they're doing is they're throwing stuff up onto the wall to see what sticks. What is it that people start talking about? Which one is it that people start, showing interest in, and that's the one that they're going to go to.
Got it. So you think it's unlikely both will happen within the time frames?
Both will not happen. That ain't happening. You're not gonna get Jake against his brother Logan, because it's one of those, that fight. If that fight did come about, it's a tough fight because it's tough to sell. Based upon a lot of people are going to think that he's really not going to go and brother against brother, they're not going to fight hard. Where maybe they will, but a lot of people won't believe it. So it's tough to do. And if they do, a lot of people will always say that they didn't. Mm-hmm. So it's a tough one.
Yeah. What else you got for us?
All right, it's on the staying in the boxing realm. We got March 29th, KSI versus Dylan Dennis. That is the same day as Jake Paul and Logan Paul, if I'm not mistaken. So likely on the same card.
Will they be on the same Misfits?
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah. You can do it. I like SI. He's funny. He now fights just like MVP. He's got the hands down at the side bouncing style he's been using and stuff. Great. But Dylan Dennis, I have nothing to do with.
No. All right, what else?
That's it.
I'm just being honest with that.
I did notice that I think I had posted something. There was a little bit of talk that there might be a Deontay Wilder and Francis Ngannou were talking about.
I saw Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua talking.
It says only full fights announced. Basically, it's been reported that Deontay Wilder and Francis Ngannou are close to finalizing a deal for a fight later this year.
Yeah.
So we'll find out if that happens.
Oh, what's funny is I'm actually reading on USA Today that they're launching a reality series, and so that whole fight thing was not necessarily this fight thing was not a fight. So I need to dig into this a little bit, but it looks like it's reporting that they're launching a reality series, and that whole squaring off thing was just for the entertainment aspect of it. So, but I'll dig into this and we can cover it next week if there's anything there. I didn't see this, so I don't have enough information just to rattle it off right now.
Yeah.
Next one here, Colby Covington. Next fight will be against Gilbert Burns. That's according to Chael Sonnen. He says he will come back and he will do this fight.
Who will?
Colby against Gilbert Burns.
Okay.
That's a good matchup. That's one I would like. Yeah. That would be one that I would love to see. I'd like to see Colby in that fight. I'd like to see Gilbert. Colby's got things that he's good at. That he's got to be careful based upon the guy that he's going to be matched up with. The talent level of the grappling of Gilbert, as far as submission wise, that's tough to take down and control the whole time. But I think that's a fight that anybody would want to see.
I agree. I'm down to watch it. I want to see the grappler versus the wrestler / two stand-up guys.
Well, the big difference here is if you look at it, they're both good on the ground. They have a different way of going about it, obviously. Gilbert's got way more power than Colby.
Absolutely. He's
more.
faster. He's way faster than Colby, too.
He's faster than Colby, and he hits harder.
Yeah.
So Colby's going to have to be careful on the feet.
I agree. And Colby hasn't looked great lately, so it's not like as if it was a cardio machine. It doesn't look like he's a cardio machine anymore.
And the other part, I had heard that they were looking at Colby against Stephen Thompson, and I was like, why are they going back to feeding Colby Covington older guys?
I mean, Gilbert's spring chicken.
No, he's not. He's 38 now, right?
Yeah.
Almost 39.
They released Jairzinho Rosenstruck.
Yeah,
on the roster after his loss last week, and then that's in the UFC. And then you've got a fighter who's the champion over at PFL, and asking for his release in Patchy Mix, saying "release me." I've talked to a couple people that work for the PFL, and I've talked to that. Basically, they're not going to make it easy to release him, which is weird because they released quite a few other people. But they are not going to make it easy to release him. They basically want him to take the pay cut, and if he doesn't take the pay cut, then they are going to wait to see what the UFC does to match it, which is fucked up.
I'll tell you what.
You don't have a division, John. Don't
hold on. I think in this one, my was not what you thought.
Okay.
My was, I believe Patchy actually has a little bit of a case here. And when I say, first off, should we read the thing that he put out? I can read it if you want.
Yep.
I've got it right here.
It says, right now I'm 31 years of age in the prime of my career. Josh, is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I've spent the last 6 years of my life fully dedicated to Bellator MMA. I worked extremely hard and sacrificed everything to win the Grand Prix and become a 3 multi-time world champion. Now with the promotion gone, I'm exactly champion of what? That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. They just took a championship belt away from him. Basically. Yeah. He's the last champion for Bellator, but it's gone. I've always showed up to put it on the line and have never turned down a single fight. Right now, in perspective, as a healthy world champion, I fought just once going on in 15 months now. That's the problem right there. Yep. He is in the prime of his career. This is his time to make money. This is his time to put on fight after fight after fight. and he's not getting those, and he's not getting them because the PFL doesn't have his weight class.
Yeah.
That's the real problem. All of my momentum in my career has been lost. I agree with that. And this is the longest layoff of my 31 fights that I've had between amateur and pro. I am 20-1 now, close to 5 years undefeated. I have finished my last 13 of 15 opponents, and I am legitimately 1 round removed from being perfect at 21-0. That was against Juan Archuleta. Not boring entertainer either, since I have an 80% finish rate. I know I'm the best in the world at bantamweight, and I want to prove it. I ask this with the utmost respect and urgency from whatever the PFL. Please release me from my contract so I can perform to make money and do what I have to do to support my family. I'm in the prime of my career, and I'm the best. I should be able to compete against the other best fighters in the world and not be on the shelf. If the sky was the limit and I'm the moon right now, skill-wise, if the sky was the limit, I am the moon right now as far as skill-wise, and there should be only one octagon I display my skill set in. Plus, the ambassador, you just put Francis on blast here. Plus, the ambassador for PFL is Francis Ngannou. I mean, I'm a world champion out of the same gym. Yes, he is. And you personally see how hard I work and try to be a leader for this team. This is no way to treat a champion. Release Patchy Mix.
Yep.
So what I'm saying is he's being respectful. I like that. But he is in the prime of his career, and time is something he can never get back.
No.
And if they're not going to have him, I honestly think this is a fighter. Look, Dana doesn't know everybody, but Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard, they do. Okay.
Oh, no, John, it's already, they want him. 100%.
Yeah.
They already want him.
Oh yeah.
No,
Look, I can tell you, they were ready to, I never said this. I don't know. I'm not going to do it. Can't do it. There was a trade of somebody in that weight class that they were going to do for a fighter out of the PFL. I know of. And it's like, it's one of those you look and you go, yes, they want him. I know they want him.
The thing is, there's certain fighters though that we could potentially see head over there that would make an automatic splash in the UFC. No, I'm not saying they should give everyone away, but there's certain fighters that you guys don't have weight classes for.
That's the problem.
So, like, look, a Sergio Pettis, let him go.
Yeah. Well, anybody in the 135s, if you're not going to have a 135-pound weight class.
Magomedov, Patchy Mix, Rafion Stotts, all those guys, Danny Sabatel.
Rafion's fighting. He's fighting in little shows already.
Yeah, like like those are things like, well, hey, go ahead and get them out there. Like with Johnny Eblin, if he heads over there, he heads over there. If they can get him over there, but look, to me, it's gonna be Patchy. It's Patchy Mix. I know that they've already expressed interest in Aaron Pico, who's a free agent.
Sure.
He's free as well. I mean, there's guys. I think Patricio will be over there probably by the end of April. I think he'll be over there. There's fights to be made for Patricio, and being as long-standing champion as he has been. It depends on what goes on. I think with Volk too, because there's a fight to be had there with two guys the same height. Just to actually watch them fight.
True.
You know what I mean? But then you've got, like the Dan Ige fight is there. Obviously the Aldo fight is there. I think there's fights to be had there.
Mike Chandler fights there.
Yeah, that's a fight too. I mean, but
do all kinds of them.
Yeah. I
just look at it right now. When you're taking a look at Patchy Mix, he has the legitimate right to say, I'm the best fighter in the world. Doesn't mean that everyone's going to agree with him, but he's not blowing smoke up no one's ass because he's right there. He's trained with all the guys, in the UFC. He's trained with, the champion and everything, and he does very well. Yep. So he is a guy that is, I want to see him fight, and he should be fighting, and he should be, being able to make money for his family. Because again, how long is that window for you to make that kind of money? The one thing I do believe, I think the UFC would put some good money out for him. I think that contract would not be shabby and would be tough for the PFL to sit there and say that's worth it to us in a weight class that we really don't have.
Yeah. It's a weight class that's very competitive.
Yeah.
It's the most competitive weight class, I think, right now in the sport. At 135 pounds, you throw him in there. Now, all of a sudden, you're just fucking.
You just put a giant blender in the middle of it.
Yeah, because everyone's been talking about the guys at 135 for a long time. But let's be honest, we're looking. Hold on, let me scroll back up here. You know, when we're talking about that weight class, though, you've got Sean O'Malley, Peter Yan, Umar Nurmagomedov, Corey Sandhagen, Figueiredo, Marlon Vera, Henry Cejudo. I mean, the division is stacked. I mean, it goes all the way down. You got Song Dong, Rob Font, Batista, Jose Aldo, Kyler Phillips. Tons of fighters in that. And you add him in there. And I think also, too, you would be smart to add Magomedov. Those two fighters for sure. Those are the two that I would for sure add. And Magomed's got a win over Peter Yan. So that it makes sense to add somebody like that in there. It makes it exciting. Anyways, look, I know we skipped over someone's question. We actually ran through it. AZ Ray videos. Could Suarez be a 3-division champion? I'm going to say no.
Yeah, you're asking right now. She's at strawweight, flyweight, possibility.
Yes,
possibility. Going up to bantamweight is going to be tough.
Yep.
You know, that's a big jump in weight, big jump in strength. There's a lot of women there that have the ability to wrestle and stuff. It's not going to be as easy.
Yep. And then
definitely a 2-division possible.
There was one more down there, Dave. Did we miss one?
Yep. So I got 2 more questions here. So Shiz Akhmedov, Josh's best friend. Sup, guys? I'm one of your OG fans. How can MVP at age of 37 be faster than Bullet? Bullet is in his prime and couldn't even land a strike and looked slower than MVP. Can MVP keep his speed for 2 more years?
You know, it's one of those questions. It's a great question, and the real thing that I look at is you never know. Because it's not, is he athletic enough? Does he do the right things? Look, one of the things that I love about Michael Venom Page, and you know, I've spent a lot of time with MVP. He is a student of the game. This guy loves the sport of MMA. This guy loves learning. You teach him a little thing, he gets all giddy and stuff, and he sits there and he tries to do it over and over and over. And he just wants to have entertaining fights and do things that people don't expect him to do. When it came to his fight with Shara Bullet, you know, you could see the whole time he was looking for the flying knee. He's looking for the flying knee. He was setting it up. Finally, he threw it a couple of times, but it was just never there for him. Because, you know, Magomedov was smart enough to know, hey, this is something he does. I'm going to keep this from happening. But he is fast. And the one thing that if you talk to anyone, and Josh will tell you the same thing, when we talk to fighters, we've had fighters say, look, I knew he was fast. I didn't know he was that fast.
Yeah.
I mean, he moves so fast at times that I was like, I did not understand that he was coming my way until it was too late. Mm-hmm. And so he's got the speed. And this one of the things that I saw at 185, he's just faster as far as comparative to his opponents, because he's got that one time. He's fast at 170. So going to 185, you got to be super fast to be able to stay in a speed race with him. So he's going to look fast, and I do think that Shara Bullet is fast. He's got a lot of skill. Shara Bullet was in a fight with a guy that is, if you are not prepared to take shots to get to him, you're not going to win that fight. If you're not going to take him down, you know, you saw that with Machado Gary. You know, he went out there. He says, "I'll stand up with him." How long did he stand with him? He was taking him down, which was the right thing to do to get the win, because that was your path to victory, because you were going to lose on the feet. There's not many people that are going to beat MVP in a stand-up MMA fight.
Yep. Next question is Dave.
Alejandro Gutierrez. Josh, are you joining GFL? Wink, wink. Thoughts on MVP versus Yuri?
No, I might be actually a little bit even too old for them.
No, you might be too young for some of them. I saw the age groups on some of those things. Did you see the average age on some of those teams? I was like
38 or something.
Oh yeah, 38 average age. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. Thoughts on MVP versus Yuri Prochaska if MVP fought Yuri? But Yuri's at 205.
Yuri's way bigger.
And Yuri's a bigger guy.
Yeah, Yuri
he's tall, but he's not. You could tell he didn't look as lean, and he had a hard time carrying more weight. Yeah, exactly.
He did.
Next one, Dave.
Dave Sandine. Thoughts on fights being stopped if a fighter cries out or grimaces during a submission but doesn't tap?
What's that again? I'm sorry, say it.
Thoughts on fights being stopped if a fighter cries out or grimaces during a submission but doesn't tap?
We do not stop fights because people grimace. Grimacing happens all the time. If you scream out in pain, then you're showing that you cannot handle what is occurring in the cage, and we're going to stop the fight. That is the way that the rule is set up for referees, is when someone screams out in pain or, does something that shows that, they can't handle what is occurring, it's the same as a tap, and you're going to stop the fight. I've had it too many times. I've had championship fights change hands. Joe Warren in Bellator, Joe Warren was fighting Galvao, and Galvao puts him in a knee bar, and Joe Warren was, he's the poster boy at the time for, Bellator. He was Bjorn Rebney's guy. And he screamed out in pain. Boom, I stopped the fight. And, he goes, I didn't tap. Same thing. What did I tell you in the back? And I told every fighter, you would go through a rules meeting. And one of the things I would go through is, let me make this as clear as I can for you. If you get put in a submission and you are in trouble in that submission, I'll let you fight your way out of any submission that is there. But I'm telling you right now, if I see that there's damage, or you all of a sudden scream out in pain like you're an 8-year-old little girl, the fight is over. You've asked me to stop it, and I'm going to be stopping it. Do you understand? Yes, I understand. Okay. And then it happens, and they go, but I didn't. Yes, you did.
Zeke 662. What's going on with Paulo Costa, and do you think Bellator fighters that are getting released like Norbert Novinoro are
Norbert Novini?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that would be a pickup the UFC should absolutely do, because he's young and he's good. Man, he would be an instant fucking...
I think he may get in because MVP's over there now. He trains with MVP. That relationship is there, and being around. He's a big boy. He may eventually end up being a 205 pounder.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah,
185. He's a stud.
Yeah, he's a stud at 85. He's coming off of his first loss, I believe, right? He has lost his last fight, so he's gonna have to get a win, I think, before they can bring him in. But I think he'd be a great addition. Like I said, his dad's an Olympic gold medalist, I believe, in wrestling, and it would be good for him. Good Greco-Roman wrestling, so good for him.
Last
Dave
one from
Sandine.
Yeah.
Hey Josh, is there any other fights out there that would bring you out of retirement for the GFL? No, there's not, dude. No, like I said, the only thing I would really pretty much consider entertaining would be bare knuckle fighting. I wouldn't mind doing bare knuckle boxing. It'd be like against Nate or, I don't even know. Just probably Nate. That'd be the only one that I'd be interested in doing. Just to be honest, I don't know. I don't feel bad, but I'm just simply saying, like, it just wouldn't be the same. I wouldn't call out Tony. Tony's at a place right now. I don't think it'd be. It's just not. I feel like I'd be doing it to it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Anyways, but John, there's one thing I wanted to do before we go. I have this question for you: John Jones versus Tom Aspinall, or Islam versus Topuria. Which one sells the more pay-per-views?
I say it's Tom Aspinall and John Jones. Based upon, and this is why, Tom Aspinall is got all of England, and England's got a pay-per-view platform. So you're going to get pay-per-view buys out of those people, where Islam, there is no pay-per-view for his hometown people. There is for here in the state people that he knows and stuff. And again, Topuria in Spain, there's not a pay-per-view platform. So I think the pay-per-view platform is with Aspinall and Jones.
Okay.
And that's not based on fight. That's based on athletes.
Okay. Interesting. I just want to get your feeling on that. All right. Well, hey guys, that's going to wrap up our show. And Dave, is there anything else?
Nope. We'll wrap up there.
That's going to wrap up our show, though. Make sure you guys use that link down below in the descriptions for LMNT, the best hydration drink in the business. That'll give you a bonus package if you purchase through that link. Also use YouTube 150 for Bet US. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our bet picks tonight. Look, I made you guys some money last weekend, but I went out on the dog with Imavov. I took Imavov over Izzy.
You were smart.
I was smart on that one. I thought for sure the pressure. Izzy man looks fantastic, and Izzy had that. He looked possessed in that fight. I thought he was.
The first round he looked really good. But let me ask you this: did you see that? I watched that fight. I'm on the boat and I'm watching the fight, but I'm watching the fight and I had this feeling before the fight I was going to go with Nasruddin based upon Izzy had lost his last two and stuff and he's just not he's not taking shots the same way.
Yeah.
But I always go back to his fight with Anderson Silva. I don't know if you recall it, but and there was the moment in there he kind of does the Bruce Lee thing and he brings his hand and he does the whole thing and at the time that he did it, I was like, dude, someday you're going to be in that situation. I hate to say that to you, but it's going to happen because I had ref Izzy in kickboxing and stuff like that. And he's a really good guy, but I was like, don't do that shit to the guys that have fucking paved the way for you to now be where you're at. And I looked at this fight when he got knocked out. I was like, damn it! I knew that I was picking Nasruddin, but I felt bad for him, and it was like one of those. It's like now you're in that position. Yeah. Of being that guy, and it kind of was like, damn,
yeah.
But it's still a hell of a fighter. It's just hard to fight the top level guys forever,
especially his style.
Yeah.
I brought this up. I said, he's used to being the taller, longer, lankier guy. The John Jones effect. Let me put my hand out.
Yeah. Can't reach me. Nasruddin's just as tall, just as long.
Yep. And then when we had Chris Curtis on, that's what he said. He's like, dude, that fucking guy is big.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, Imavov is big. He's like, I stood next to him and I'm like, what the fuck? So this guy's huge.
Yeah.
So, and then Izzy, I go, look, when you see them face to face, you're like, okay, now that he's evenly matched with someone his height, kind of his reach, that kind of thing. Obviously, Izzy had a longer reach, but it was still like, okay, all I got to do is make you miss a little bit and slide in and cover that gap, and I can hit you and touch you.
That's right.
And I believe that Izzy's chin is not the same.
It's not.
It's not what it, it's not what it used to be.
He can't take those same shots. And he, a lot of people I heard complained about that stoppage. It wasn't so much the shot that put him down. If you watch the shot that he took on the ground, the first shot, I think it was the left hand came. I mean, it blasted him.
Yep.
And so, it was a good thing that Mark Goddard stopped that fight when he did.
I thought so too. He was flattened out. There wasn't much going on. Like it wasn't building his base back up. And I didn't hear anyone complain about it or media talk about it. I thought it was a good stoppage myself. I felt kind of bad. So did I. So I went with him. I went with MVP, and I went with Pavlovich, and I felt like it was a good go. I was concerned about the Izzy one because I don't know if you noticed in that first round, that sense of focus that Izzy had. He was clenching his jaw. You could see the muscles and striations in his neck and his back. He looked like he was physically better than I had seen him in a long time.
Yeah, he did. He looked like he trained well for it. You're right.
And he looked really like laser focused. And when he was hitting him and kicking him in that first round, I was like, holy shit, fucking Imavov cannot find his range. He can't figure out what to do. And then he started realizing that Izzy was reaching his hands too much. So all I had to do was just kind of make him miss a little bit when he reached and then come over the top. Fake the little up jab, or hit the little up jab. So you reach out and block and then come over the top with the overhand right. And sure enough, it was there. So,
yep.
Hey guys, I want to thank you guys so much for continuing to support our podcast. There's one more. Alejandro MVP is the post fight. He would like jury next. Topuria doesn't deserve a fight with Islam. He needs to do more. Dilemma of Josh Musashi versus Rockhold. I'd love to see Musashi versus Rockhold be a great fight. Yuri and MVP, sure. I mean, MVP have to go up to 205 though. Yuri right now is at 205.
Too big.
Does Topuria deserve a title shot? I don't think so. But look, they do what's best for the promotion and what makes them the most money.
Okay.
Make sure you guys join the memberships here for us. And I want to thank you guys so much for continuing to support us. Dave did something tonight. He turned off the comments for people that are not subscribed to our channel. So please subscribe to our channel. I want to thank you guys so much for following us. And also head over to our OnlyFans channel and subscribe to us over there. It's free. We do a live show there once a month, sometimes twice a month. And you can ask more personal questions over there. Nothing, cryptic, and shit. No, that's it. But hey, have fun. And last but not least, YouTube 150 is a promo code for BetUS. Hope you guys make some money off of what we gave you guys tonight. John, take us away, bud.
For everyone out there, thank you for tuning in. For the question about Craig Hubbard, still don't understand it. And I just want to say it was good to be back with you, brother. So for everyone out there, we will see you.